Thursday, March 12th is the annual State of the City presented by City Manager Dana McDaniel at the Exchange at Bridge Park.
We are here on this magnificent new bridge to let you know that Friday the 13th of March is a very lucky day because
it's the grand opening of the bridge and you're all invited.
The day will start out with the Lions Club pancake breakfast, and after that is the main event, which is the Greenest Grandest Parade with over 20,000 spectators. So you really don't want to miss it.
As we have talked about and as yet medical experts have explained to us, these numbers are just going to continue to grow. Further, we believe that this is, in all likelihood, all throughout the state of Ohio.
Hi, I'm Dana McDaniel, Dublin City Manager. I'm here at Dublin City Hall, which is closed to the public like all of our other public facilities. But the one thing I want to assure you is that your city government is at work. We are working with our Dublin City Council, your elected officials, to manage our way through this coronavirus COVID-19 crisis.
Jones, Assistant Health Commissioner and Director of Prevention and Wellness here at Franklin County Public Health.
I can't emphasize this enough, is try to work on your mental health, try to get outside, get some exercise in.
We would ask that we continue to do what we have always done exceptionally well in this community. Let's look out for each other and take care of those in need.
We have been overwhelmed and grateful with all of your calls to offer your help at a time when we need to be physically separated.
What that permits us to do, that permits us to have continuity of governance. Why is continuity of governance important? It's important because the city does a lot of essential services. We need to maintain our streets, we need to maintain our parklands, yard waste. Our police services are certainly a very essential portion of that, and with our partners at Washington Township Fire and EMS. So the continuity of governance is very important.
Hi, I'm Tim Fleischer, Assistant Horticulturist with the City of Dublin, bringing you an at-home horticulture tip.
While we're staying at home, many of us have noticed more wildlife nesting and rearing their young right in our backyards.
All right, ladies, one more gents, here we go. We got squats to start. We're gonna grab weights if we got them.
Hi, I'm Nick Lucas, and I work every day to keep your streets safe and well-maintained.
Students, I have some terrible information I need to share with you right away.
Why would I want my own dear cousin assassinated?
Thousands of businesses across the state are keeping their employees safe and healthy thanks to Jobs Ohio and their donation of thousands of PPE kits.
safety is our #1 priority here in Dublin. And, we want to make sure that everybody, when they're visiting Dublin, feels safe while they're here.
Welcome to the 2021 Dublin State of the City. This year has revolved around adaptation, pivoting, and demonstrating our resilience. Like all of you, the City of Dublin and Dublin City Council was forced to change the way we do business, the way we operate, and the way we live our daily lives. I would like to take a moment and acknowledge my fellow council members, Vice Mayor Kathy DeRosa, Christina Aludo, Jane Fox, Andy Keeler, Greg Peterson, and John Reiner. Together this year, we have worked with our regional, state, and federally elected officials in maintaining the continuity of governance and ensuring that we continue to provide high-quality city services and creating a framework for recovery from this pandemic. I would like to hold up our frontline and essential workers, from grocery store employees to medical staff, first responders, and delivery personnel. We could not have survived this past year without you. Not only have we endured the pandemic, but also social and civil unrest. I want to reaffirm to everyone that we are listening, and we continue to hear everyone in our community. We have created a community task force and the Police Chiefs Advisory Committee to combat and prohibit social injustice, inequality, intolerance, negative stereotyping, and discrimination. While this year has been so very difficult, I also have found bright spots in your messages of kindness and demonstrations of caring for your neighbors, in your support of local businesses, and in the way you have rallied around our community. So many times you have come to us for parades, special events, and this year we brought them to you. Whether it was Santa Claus, or our fire and safety squads cruising through the streets, or the Dublin Irish Festival music being piped into your homes, and our upcoming reverse parade for St. Patrick's Day. We can't wait to be together again in one place and celebrate as one, the City of Dublin. Because we are all in this together. One community united. That's what we do. It's the Dublin way. No matter what, we come together. I am proud to be your neighbor, your friend, and your mayor. Thank you for that honor, and thank you for making Dublin home.
"2020 presented the city with a unique set of challenges. I am pleased to report to you that the city ended the year and remains in a strong financial position. Last March, governors across the United States took action to protect the health and safety of their populations from the then mostly unknown novel coronavirus. COVID-19 has had an immediate and strong economic impact. Unemployment grew from 4.4% to 14.8% nationally. The stock market fell 34%. Gross domestic product in the second quarter of 2020 fell 31.4%. The City of Dublin's response to this emergency included an assessment of the potential economic impact on the city's finances. In April, I presented to City Council operating budget revenue estimates between $70.2 and $88.1 million, based on the uncertain road ahead. Over the course of the next several months, these estimates were continually refined, and ultimately, Dublin ended 2020 with operating revenues totaling $92 million, which was less than $1 million below our original 2020 operating budget estimate. The key driver behind these figures is the resiliency of the city's income tax revenue, which makes up more than 75% of the city's operating revenues. This funding comes from Dublin's 2% income tax. Of this percentage, 75% is distributed to the general fund, which is the largest fund supporting city operations. 25% is distributed to the Capital Improvements Fund to support new capital projects and the maintenance of the city's infrastructure. In 2020, Dublin collected $92.2 million in income tax revenue, exceeding our original budget of $89.3 million by almost $3 million. But COVID-19 has had a financial impact on the city's finances, and this impact will likely continue through this year and potentially next year. The most heavily impacted revenues were associated with recreation services and the hotel-motel tax fund. Revenues associated with the city's 6% tax on lodging are deposited into the hotel-motel fund. These revenues fell from $3.6 million to $1.5 million in 2020, a reduction of $2.1 million or 58.3%. The downward pressure on these revenues is estimated to last until potentially 2023. Recreation revenue related to charges for recreation-related services fell from around $4 million in 2019 to just over $1.1 million in 2020, a decrease of 73%. Revenues associated with the operation of the city's outdoor pool fell from almost $500,000 to just under $60,000, a decrease of 88%, both due to COVID-19 and the closure of the Dublin Community Pool North for renovations. In response to the reduction in recreation-related revenues, the city increased support from the general fund in order to continue to provide these services as we navigate through this pandemic. This additional support is possible because of the city's strong fiscal health. Another significant part of the city's strong fiscal health is our rainy day fund, represented by the general fund balance. Dublin ended 2020 with a record general fund balance of $71.3 million, or 99.2% of 2020 general fund expenditures. This fund balance was achieved through successful economic development initiatives and a strategic reduction in the operating expenditures when the emergency started in order to balance the city's revenues and expenditures. This fund balance protects the city in several ways, but the most relevant way in 2020 is it allowed the city time to delay any potential service reductions as the economic impact of the emergency was unknown. Ultimately, as the year progressed and the city's revenues, particularly income tax revenues, remained resilient, no reduction in services to the residents of the City of Dublin were necessary. In addition to protecting vital services during an emergency, this fund balance represents an opportunity to invest in a brighter, more prosperous future. In 2020, the city invested $300,000 in our local economy by funding the Restart Dublin, Ohio plan, administered by Visit Dublin, Ohio, in order to support our local businesses and community. The city advanced new economic development initiatives and progressed on prior agreements. Dublin continued to invest in the city's infrastructure by maintaining the funding necessary to keep our current assets well maintained, while still allowing the opportunity to create new assets that will propel Dublin forward. The city moved into its new City Hall building at 5555 Perimeter Drive and started construction of the $6 million new council chambers. There will be a wonderful place to celebrate our democracy and our ability to gather together in future years. 2020 was a year of challenges and uncertainty that demonstrated the city's resiliency. In 2020, Dublin was able to manage through the current crisis without reducing service levels, while maintaining a balanced budget, and executed on longer-term projects that will keep Dublin well-positioned as we move forward toward an ever more prosperous Dublin 2035.
Thanks, Matt, and welcome to the 2021 State of the City. Let me congratulate Matt on his appointment in May 2020 as the city's finance director. I can't thank Matt and his team enough for the fiscal leadership, the diligence and ingenuity they exhibited during this pandemic, really helping the city to persevere through some very uncertain times. I hope you agree that despite economic crisis we faced in 2020, our city remains in strong fiscal health. I also think you'll agree our local economy has overall been amazingly resilient. It goes without saying that 2020 was likely not the year we all hoped it would be. While disruptive and tragic, we have faced this pandemic crisis together and will continue to do so until it's behind us. It's hard to imagine the challenges we faced individually and collectively this past year. As a city organization, I cannot say we were completely prepared for what we would face. However, we were fortunate that the city had a second-generation pandemic plan on our shelf. Yes, the city did plan for this possibility, and we were able to put that plan into effect. Like any plan, it wasn't perfect, but it gave us good foundation on which to launch our initial decisions and our efforts. I thank our fellow staff before us who put this plan into place. And as you may know, city staff operates in emergency management mode about every day. Not to be confused with crisis and chaos, but sometimes that's true. We manage large special events and the effects of weather events alike. We've continuously trained over the years to be prepared to respond to any number of possible natural and man-made disasters or challenges. This training prepared our staff to be agile and adaptable to challenges, even in response to a pandemic. No doubt, resilience. That's our ability to be flexible, adaptable. Our toughness. That defined us in 2020, and our ability to bounce back will define us in 2021 as we continue to defeat the pandemic. I think you'll agree with me as you hear our 2020 story and what we anticipate in 2021. Critical to our ability to continue to respond to this crisis is continuity of government. An untiring devotion to continue to meet and govern. That's what our City Council did. Despite all the challenges and frankly, even the threats to their own health at times, they still came together and governed. Likewise, our boards, commissions, committees, and task forces have continued to do the good work of both governance and public engagement despite an unforgiving environment. We were able to pivot our in-person democracy to an online democracy, still providing the transparency and opportunity to engage, thereby sustaining the public trust and confidence in our local government. We have been here for you and serving you throughout this crisis, and will continue to do so because we are a proud local democracy. I want to say special thanks to our Historic Dublin Task Force who continue to find their way through the pandemic to deliver recommendations on the future of Historic Dublin. Thanks to our Community Task Force appointed by City Council and formed during this pandemic to map a direction for our community regarding diversity, equity, inclusion, and social injustice. Likewise, our new Chiefs Advisory Committee, also formed this past year, to be advisory to our Chief of Police with a focus on diversity, equity, inclusion, social justice, and to provide input and feedback on police policies and practices. We continued to provide our core functions and services throughout 2020 without much disruption. Sure, we had to change or pivot our way of doing some things, particularly in the early days of the pandemic, to allow protocols to be put into place and to set new standards for the public, reference gathering, social distancing, and sanitizing. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank City of Dublin staff, the men and women who kept city operations going all year, as they always do. From our IT staff, who were tasked with making dozens, if not hundreds, of public meetings happen virtually, to our outreach and engagement team who reached out to our most vulnerable residents. to all of the essential city workers and contractors who made sure roads were plowed, streets were paved, leaves were collected, buildings and projects inspected, recreation services, custodial, and other customer-facing services provided. That also includes the Dublin Police Department and our partners with Washington Township Fire and EMS who braved known COVID environments to ensure your emergency needs were met. Thank you all for all you have done this year and all that you're going to continue to do to serve and keep this community safe and healthy. Thank you to all of our healthcare partners, especially Franklin County Public Health, which is a designated health department for the City of Dublin. They provided invaluable expertise, support, direction, and resources to us during this pandemic. The Ohio Department of Health and both the Delaware and Union County Public Health Departments have also been great resources and partners. We thank all healthcare workers and first responders for their tireless commitment to the health and wellness of our community. And we know their work is not done. While the arrival of COVID-19 vaccines brings us hope for an end to this pandemic, we know we have a ways to go to get enough supply and distribution points to serve the entirety of our public. The city, in partnership with Washington Township Fire and EMS, has prepared a mass vaccination plan should the opportunity present itself for the city and the township to assist with this effort. We'd also like to acknowledge Ohio Health, which has been committed to the City of Dublin for nearly 2 decades and has provided state-of-the-art services to the public as well as support during this COVID-19 pandemic. We were very creative in 2020. While we could not provide the level of special events our community is used to, our staff provided online recreation services and virtual special events, like bringing parades and, yes, Santa Claus to your neighborhoods. Our partners like the Dublin Arts Council and Visit Dublin, Ohio were instrumental in expanding outdoor activities as well, providing safe alternatives and combating isolation. Our Dublin Cares effort partnered with Centero, providing community and counseling services, Dublin Bridges, Meals on Wheels, the Dublin Food Pantry, the faith community, service organizations, and our many community volunteers pulled together to see our community needs were met. Keep in mind though, these great organizations do this work, pandemic or not, in our community, and they need your assistance. I want to acknowledge again Ohio Health, who told us they treated more than 1,200 COVID patients at Dublin Methodist Hospital alone since the pandemic began. Dublin zip codes continuously accounted for about 10% of the region's COVID-19 cases. So let's take a minute and now let's look forward a little bit. Speaking of Ohio Health, they're bringing even more great care to Dublin this year with the opening of the Dublin Cancer Center. This 30,000 square foot building on Perimeter Drive will allow patients to come to one building for many aspects of their cancer care, creating ease and a sense of familiarity. The Dublin Cancer Center is on schedule to open in late spring of this year. Pandemic or no pandemic, we couldn't be prouder of our medical community and Dublin's growing and thriving healthcare sector. That includes the Ohio State University Wexner Medical Center Ambulatory Care Center, which is under construction on the city's west side between Shire Rings Road and US 33. In addition to providing great new community care benefits, the facility is bringing 350 new jobs to Dublin and an annual payroll of $50 million. Quantum Health announced plans to bring its corporate headquarters to Dublin last year and is already expanding into multiple buildings on Blazer Parkway, and are exceeding job creation expectations, becoming one of our top 5 largest employers. That helped our commercial vacancy rate, which has dropped to 12% last year, which is right in an ideal range between 8% and 15%, where we can allow for retention, expansion, and attraction of new companies. Bridge Park continues to grow, bringing exciting new additions like the North Market, which opened earlier this year and continues to add vendors and will continue to open its doors more and more with more vendors and as the environment allows for more people to gather. Hagerty Insurance, the world's largest insurance and media organization for enthusiast vehicles, made Bridge Park its home. The company's new operations center is bringing about 200 jobs to the City of Dublin. Another new block in Bridge Park is planned to undergo construction yet this year and will bring substantial new office as well as additional retail, restaurants, and housing options. In historic Dublin, Cohatch will be opening soon on North High Street. This new co-working spot offers spectacular views overlooking the Soda River, and in fact, they've dubbed it the Riverwalk location. While our local economy is strong, to be sure, it's not without its struggles. It's been an extraordinarily difficult year for some of our small businesses, especially the hospitality and restaurant industries. We continue to encourage residents to support these local businesses to the extent that you possibly can. We know relief is on the way, but it will be a while before these businesses can return to pre-COVID levels. The city's taken measures to help where we can, allowing for more outdoor dining options in the warmer months and allocating $300,000 in funds for Visit Dublin, Ohio to market to a post-pandemic world. The city also took measures to ensure the Dublin Arts Council programs critical services were provided alongside the city's recreational services. I commend the Dublin Chamber for its efforts to support the local business community throughout this pandemic. And I'd just like to thank the Dublin community as a whole, from Dublin, Hilliard, and Jonathan Alder schools, and Centero to the Welcome Warehouse, the Dublin Food Pantry, Dublin Foundation, the Faith Community, many service organizations, the city's volunteers, and other wonderful philanthropic agencies, and our residents of this great city who have shown support through the Dublin Cares campaign and various other acts of kindness and charity. You've demonstrated dedication, kindness, and resiliency at the highest levels. It's been said before and it'll be said again, we are all in this together. We will get through. We will pull through stronger than ever before. So as we look forward, our focus in 2021 is to continue functioning as a proud local democracy and providing fundamental services to the Dublin community. City Council approved a 2021 operating budget that allows us to keep providing best-in-class services, so there will be no reduction in services offered. We just may have to be a little bit more creative in how we provide them. The same goes for the capital program. City Council has approved a 5-year capital improvement program that will help us continue to maintain our infrastructure and to forward invest in infrastructure for future development projects. That includes the new University Boulevard and other public infrastructure to support the OSU Wexner Medical Facility and provide new connectivity in the West Innovation District. The Corners, which is a mixed-use development in the heart of our Legacy Office District along France Road. It will include housing, office space, retail, dining, and a new park. Speaking of parks, you may have noticed Riverside Crossing Park taking shape on the east side of the Scioto River. The East Plaza will open later this year, while the park is on track to open in 2022. The park and plaza will be great new amenities to downtown Dublin, along with the Dublin Link, our pedestrian and bicycle bridge, which has already become a beloved destination in downtown Dublin, has won numerous awards, including Best Project of 2020 and #2 on the list of best bridges in the country last year. Our North Pool is under reconstruction right now, and it's undergoing a complete renovation. We gathered a lot of public feedback and completely redesigned it. A newly renovated facility is on track to open for the 2021 swim season, adding more capacity to deal with the ongoing COVID-19 environment in 2021. The greenest, grandest St. Patrick's Day Parade will look different this year, as you probably imagine. Instead of watching the parade from the sidewalk, you're going to drive by the parade in your car. This drive-through reverse parade is scheduled for March 13th and will take place at Darry Fields Park. As you know, we canceled many events this last year. We don't know completely the fate of all those events in 2021 just yet. I anticipate it will be difficult to still provide those events, as has been our tradition. But we will continue to be creative and provide similar opportunities to our community. We also continue to forward several Connected Dublin projects, which include everything from connected vehicle testing to smart parking lot pilot projects, and we are exploring pilot projects and partners to bring high-speed fiber to the home. This is part of City Council's visionary goal to be the most connected community in the United States. And we are well on our way with our 100 gigabit Dublink transport broadband network at our disposal and the emerging Beta District, an ecosystem primed for innovative companies to come here to Dublin and test and launch new technologies. Another one of Council goals is the Dublin 2035 framework. We will begin engaging the community this year to start conversations about planning our future organized around 4 overarching themes: infrastructure, land use, economics, and quality of life. This will build upon the community plans of our past. I hope you agree that our community has been and will continue to be resilient, and that the state of our city remains excellent. As we go forward into 2021, I ask that all of you continue to follow those protocols to keep you, your loved ones, friends, and coworkers safe. These include wash your hands frequently, sanitize surfaces regularly, maintain social distance, avoid gathering, wear a mask, and when available, get a COVID-19 vaccine. Thank you.
One thing is for sure we've learned this year is resilience is an action verb. It's also something we do together. Resilience is about really paying attention to what we now know is so dear to us every day, and yet also looking forward to what we need to do to thrive in the future.
You know, our residents are the strength and the backbone of the Dublin community, and they have a tremendous commitment to their families, personal responsibility, and to this community. And it is the strength of that commitment that allows us to weather any storm and to rise to the occasion to any challenge that we face in the community.
I'm really proud of all the citizens in Dublin and the effort they made to keep our city strong, to fight this thing, and to try to make the quality of our life better during this tough period.
I think the 17th century Japanese poet Masahide reflected resilience really well when saying, "My barn having burned down, I can now see the moon." Because resilience is more than just about getting back up again. It's about reframing your perspective and having appreciation for the little things and empowering others to do so as well.
When I think of resilience, I think of all those who have gone before us and the challenges they faced. They turned those challenges into opportunities. That's what we have before us today, opportunities to make the most of a challenging situation and discover new beginnings.
What an amazing city we live in. You did not let the pandemic stop you from living. Instead, this community showed up. We took care of our neighbors, we took care of the elderly, you helped families that were suffering with job losses, restaurant workers and business owners were supported, our food pantries were filled, unexpected needs were bridged, school children were fed, and social media spread messages of hope and kindness. I hope that in 2021, we all understand that we were able to not only adapt, but we can survive and thrive by supporting each other.
We've got this. Life's hardships make us all stronger and remind us not to sweat the small stuff.
My hopes for 2021 are for people to come together with gratitude and appreciation for each other. Because no matter where you're from, where you are, or where you're going, when gratitude fills our hearts, it opens us up to different experiences, different perspectives, and for people to bring their whole self to the conversation. And that's how we'll really get things done together.
The City of Dublin is financially and structurally a very strong city, and it's laid the groundwork to preserve itself and preserve the vital services that we provide to you. We will get through this, and we can all be back to where we should be.
The residents' commitment to their priorities of family and community, coupled with, quite frankly, years and generations of sound, fiscal, responsible policy, coupled with a fantastic staff that we have here in Dublin, I can absolutely guarantee that we will emerge stronger than we ever have before in 2021.
I hope that 2021 brings renewed optimism, health, and happiness to our residents. I believe that the pandemic has caused a lot of folks to reevaluate what's truly important. I hope that this is a trend that continues.
I hope we learn the lessons from 2020 and carry them forward, that humanity needs each other, probably more than we ever realized before. It is really hard to live without human connection and to be separated from each other.
You know, one of the things I'm so looking forward to is the opportunity to be together again and really learning from you what you're planning to do with what we've learned. We've learned a lot of lessons this last year. We've also learned what's really, really important to us. So I'm so looking forward to this next year, coming together and planning our future collectively, building on the things that matter so much to us and the future that we want to create.
We will get through this together because Dublin has shown time and time again that we are proud, that we are visionary, that we are disciplined, we are tough, we are a community. That and all the wonderful people who live here are what gives me hope for our future.